Hi, everyone. Today I have a very special treat, I think, because I'm going to read out of this book, NANO, Technology of Mind Over Matter by Kabbalist Rav Berg. So I have this book forever, a long time, but I picked it back up because, as you guys know, I'm cleaning up my house. I'm going to travel for a while. And so I'm putting everything away. And I bumped into this book and I was like, let me just take another look. And lo and behold, there is a chapter that is called The Law of Attraction. And so I was curious to see what the Rav was writing about, what the Kabbalists are thinking about the law of attraction, because that's what I'm all about, the law of attraction. That's what I'm teaching, that's what I'm coaching, and that's what I'm trying to live. So now I read the chapter again, and it is just amazing. So let's begin. So the law of attraction. The Kabbalist concept known as law of attraction was first discussed in Kabbalistic texts some 4,000 years ago. Do you imagine? That's how long we are already talking about the law of attraction. It has been described often since then, from the 17th century works of Sir Isaac Newton to the latest book bestseller lists. We know everybody's writing about the law of attraction, but there are many misconceptions concerning the dynamics of this universal law. I'm going to use names of rabbis that were really, really very smart, intelligent, interesting people. And I urge you to just Google them and read about their lives, because these people were really interesting. So Rav Yehuda Ashlach, the teacher of my master, so we're talking about Rav Berg, the teacher of the teacher, wrote at great length about the law of attraction and the dangers associated with not truly understanding it. In fact, this great Kabbalist said that until we understand the implications of the law of attraction, we will never master the wisdom of Kabbalah. So we know that Kabbalah is the esoteric part of Judaism. Okay, so there's a lot of wisdom in there. Oh my God. The law of attraction is the key to unlocking Kabbalah secrets and the code to comprehending its teachings. Rav Ashlach explains the law of attraction as follows. When two things are similar, they are considered to be close. The more similar they are, the closer they will be. When they are identical in form, the result is complete oneness between the two. By the same token, the more dissimilar two entities are, the greater distance there is between them. I would also urge you to listen to that again, because this is really cool stuff. The light and the vessel, God and mankind, are separated from one another as a direct consequence of their diametrical opposed natures. The light shares with the vessel the light shares while the vessel receives. God imparts blessings while the souls of humankind seek to receive blessings. The light force is a positive charged form of sharing consciousness, while the vessel is a negative charge received form of consciousness. Interesting, no? It immediately becomes clear that the only way to remove the space between mankind and the light force of the Creator is to remove the single trait that brings about this condition of separation in the first place. That single trait is receiving. We now have discovered a deeper, more comprehensive reason as to why the vessel needed this physical world to remove the remaining 1% receiving aspect from its consciousness. Once this 1% is removed, the vessel will automatically establish affinity, connection, and oneness with the light force of the Creator by virtue of the law of attraction. I'm just so amazed that I read this already like such a long time ago, and that I'm still not fully 100% grasping that idea of oneness and how it all works. So I'm so excited to study this together with you. When greed is good, I'm curious. Kabbalists are a greedy bunch. They make executives on Wall Street look like Boy Scouts by comparison. But there is one immensely profound difference in their type of greed. Kabbalists are greedy for the everlasting light force of the Creator, the essence of unending fulfillment. I call this enlightened greed. Traditionally, Kabbalists have always been investors in the game of life. They are not in any way moral or ethical players in a world overwhelmed with strife. The Kabbalist never settled for less. The Kabbalist wants it all. He does not want to compromise and settle for a few good years of fulfillment, followed by many years of chaos. The Kabbalist wants a continuous upward climb on the ladder of happiness, not a roller coaster consisting of pain and pleasure, stress and serenity. Learning how to receive an endless flow of fulfillment is what the game of life is all about. This is the thought behind creation. And we find this truth concealed within the very word that describes these universal teachings. Kabbalah means to receive. Now I understand again why 20 years ago I was so intrigued by. It's about now this month, 20 years ago, that these studies came into my life. So it's really cool to pick it up. The mere fact that the word Kabbalah means to receive is paradoxical in light of the methodology that Kabbalah champions to help us receive infinite fulfillment in our life. According to Kabbalah, one receives by not receiving. We receive by doing the opposite, by sharing. Enlightened greed versus senseless greed. There are two ways to receive fulfillment from life, and both ways are founded upon greed. Firstly, there is what I characterize as senseless greed. This form of greed is motivated exclusively by the metaphysical entity known as adversary, or as ego, or receiving consciousness. This form of greed serves to gratify the ego at the expense of the soul. It is a senseless form of greed, for it inevitably cuts you off from the light force, the tree of life reality, by buying you off with short-term gratification. Why? When you receive, you're acting in opposition to the light. Thus, according to the law of attraction, you are creating a greater distance between you and the light. To prevent you from detecting the vast distance your behavior has put between you and the light force, the adversary bestows upon you a temporary reward, such as ego gratification. However, once that wears off, you inevitably realize that you have wound up falling under negative influences by virtue of your separation from the light. It will become apparent that this distance creates a space in which chaos raises its ugly head. The greed that we called enlightened greed serves one purpose alone, which is to fulfill the soul with a constant flow of fulfillment at the expense of the ego. Unlike senseless greed, enlightened greed delivers temporary pain to one's ego, but immediately afterwards provides connection to the tree of life reality. The infusion of energy that accompanies such a connection serves to diminish the chaos and negativity in one's life. The results are lasting, thus it is a far more shrewd and profitable life choice. Enlightened greed means we share. We resist selfishness, and we resist receiving. Instead, we emulate the light of the Creator so that by virtue of the law of attraction, our souls achieve closeness and connection with the divine energy that fills the tree of life reality. For the student of Kabbalah, it all boils down to a senseless greed versus enlightened greed, or receiving versus sharing. Finding our free will. Contrary to centuries of philosophical speculation and debate, mankind's free will lies exclusively at the intersection of these two options. Both the chaos that we experience and the blessings that are bestowed upon us derive solely from our ability to choose which form of greed to serve. What needs to become ingrained into our consciousness, precisely what the overriding ego consciousness seeks to prevent from happiness, is that any form of greed motivated by ego will assuredly deliver two results. Initially, you receive pleasure and immediate gratification that is admittedly intoxicating, but temporary. Subsequently, a long-lasting negative repercussion will strike when and where you least expect it, because of the distance you have put between you and the light. If this truth were present in our minds each moment of the day, we'd make wiser, more profitable choices in life. This is only achievable if, instead of allowing our ego consciousness to override our soul, we override the impulse of the ego to receive selfishly. That is, if we choose sharing as the more sensible option. Greed for the soul is the willful choice to embrace temporary pain and trauma upon one's ego, not for moral reasons, but because it provides fulfillment that never leaves us. That is what we all say, like coming out of our comfort zone and doing something that's uncomfortable for the purpose of receiving more energy, more light, more fulfillment. Unfortunately, I know far too many people who have failed to understand the implications of each of the above principles, even after decades of Kabbalistic study. Imagine if it is difficult for a student of Kabbalah to embrace and live by these truths, how much more difficult is it for the billions of people who have never been made privy to these invaluable teachings? Luckily, more and more people are learning about the laws of the universe, the law of attraction, and how we are connected with the divine nature that we are. This is the reason the world has been engulfed by conflict, war, bloodshed, and pain for some 20 centuries. And it is so true. Greed is not a problem. Okay, want to know what that means. For those of us who remain uncomfortable with having the word greed used in the same context as spirituality, or Kabbalah in particular, the Zohar reminds us that the Creator thought the vessel into existence as one simple person. Listen to this. The Creator thought the vessel into existence. This makes me so excited. Like, your thoughts create your reality. We are created in the image of our Creator. So we are creators. And our Creator thought the vessel into existence for one simple purpose: to share infinite fulfillment with the vessel. Thus, the essential nature of the vessel is desire. This infinite desire is directed toward the infinite fulfillment and happiness that the light naturally emanates. Kabbalah calls this fundamental nature of the vessel the desire to receive, or greed. By desiring everything, we are fulfilling God's will, which is to share everything. When we stop desiring the light, we prevent God's light from entering into our lives, for the Creator will not coerce us into receiving or being happy. Coercion and spirituality are mutually exclusive. If you force someone to be happy, how can that be defined as true happiness? If you force something upon someone, how can that be considered authentic sharing? God will not impart his beneficence to us unless we first desire it. So that's why it's so important, the desire. It's the same thing. Bob Proctor has whole chapters about desire. There's nothing new under the sun, I'm telling you. This is so old. It's like thousands of years old. God will not impart his... Oh, I did that already. When we do not desire the light of the Creator with all our hearts, it pains the Creator more than it pains us, because there's nothing that the Creator can do to alleviate our pain and darkness until such time that we awaken a desire for help. So we have to ask for help and have that desire to crave it. The real problem is a lack of greed. Okay, we roam through this terrestrial plane in darkness for one single reason, a lack of greed. When we desire and crave, we receive a particular form of happiness that fulfills that particular desire. God's light is now being shared. There's a moment of perfection in the universe. The light is sharing and the vessel is receiving. It just touches my heart. This is so beautiful. And I cannot believe that I just picked up this book, opened it up, and that was what I was reading. Wow, so cool. However, and also when you are listening to this, it came into your life for a reason. Okay, don't take it light. This is your creation, listening to the words of Kabbalah. However, we have learned that the only way to continually receive the happiness that is embodied in the light is to first stop receiving and instead start sharing. When you can't take it anymore, start giving. Okay, that's the principle. This action provides us with a durable connection to the light, because then our nature, sharing, and the creature's nature, sharing, becomes identical in form, one. Okay? Greed based solely on the desire to receive for the self alone is in point of fact the most limited form of greed, for it eventually cuts you off from the source of all sources. You receive a small one-time payment in lieu of unending dividends. If we were greedier people, we'd shut down our receiving consciousness and share unconditionally despite the pain, the doubt, and the skepticism that our adversaries plants within us. This would ensure our constant connection to the light, because now we are emulating the Creator. This seems so simple that it's almost inconceivable that mankind continues to be governed by senseless greed and ego consciousness after so many centuries of bloodshed and suffering. But in all fairness, the world has not been aware of the existence of the adversary or the teachings of Kabbalah, thanks in no small part of the adversary himself. It is my wholehearted desire that this book will resolve that problem once and for all. The simplicity of the law of attraction and the enlightened greed reminds me of a thought a student once shared with me. The key to putting sharing first is to strive to make it unconditional. In other words, the more you share, expecting nothing in return, the more you assume a form similar to the light of the Creator. When you do so, you draw closer to the light, allowing happiness and blessings to flow into your life. One small-time greed prevents us from going all out. That's it for today. So this is a book. I don't know, I think you can probably order it online. Nanotechnology of Mind Over Matter, Kabbalist Rav Berg. And I would recommend taking a look at it and reading it again, because my reading is not perfect, of course. It's like, and this is like way more difficult than most books. So I stumble over my words once in a while, but it doesn't take away the content. So again, if you like my content, if you like what I'm reading for you, please subscribe to my channel. It helps more people, like it helps me sharing with more people. And that's what we're all about. The law of attraction is all about doing the uncomfortable in the moment to receive the endless light of the Creator. So have a wonderful day, you guys. As always, if you want to have a private consultation with me, you can find my details below this video. And I see you next reading. Bye-bye.